really struggling with whether or not I should end a 5-plus-year relationship with my live-in boyfriend. I'm 35 years old and I've been thinking about breaking up with my boyfriend, 30, who I have been with for about 5 years. More well put, I've been tormenting myself about the idea of it for weeks now, especially since I've invested so much time and effort into this relationship. I'm feeling quite miserable, and I just really need some advice and to get this off my chest. When we started dating, we were long distance for about 1.5 years. That certainly came with its own set of challenges, but I eventually moved to where he lived because he had gone back to school when we started dating to finish getting his degree. He had already had 2 years completed, which made it difficult for him to move. I'm further along in my career, and my company was willing to let me relocate. I would say that the last couple of years have been especially rocky. I feel like I have basically become his mother, which has caused me to feel quite a bit of frustration and resentment towards him. He doesn't clean, pick up after himself, cook, unless it's frozen, etc. I have to beg and beg for him to clean up after himself, which usually ends up in us getting into an argument, and him telling me that he's doing his best. I'm constantly cleaning up after him or arguing with him because he isn't picking up after himself or helping to clean the house. He'll leave dirty dishes, cups, trash, etc. all over our house. Sometimes he'll bring the garbage to the kitchen, but he'll put it on the counter above the trash can instead of in the trash can. And his clothes and wet towels from showering will literally end up on the floor all throughout the house. He showers twice a day and does not use the same towel, so his clothes and towels seriously get out of hand. One of the household chores that is supposed to be his responsibility, for example, is taking out the trash on garbage day, but he almost always forgets, even with me reminding him several times. He's just not carrying his weight in this department, which means that a majority of the household work usually falls on me. It's a lot. On top of it all, he isn't working or contributing financially, so I'm paying all of the rent, bills, etc., and truthfully working my ass off. I'm exhausted. His excuse is that he doesn't have time to work and needs to focus on getting his degree so he can provide for us one day. But at the same time, I see him quickly getting through his homework and spending most of his time playing video games. When he first moved in, the agreement was that he would work and contribute. But that just never happened. Over the last year, he actually failed several classes and needed to retake them due to him missing classes, not doing his homework, not studying, etc. He had also taken a semester and the summer off to help get his head right and had promised that he would work to help with the bills. But he never did, which, as you can imagine, led to an argument as well between the two of us. I also have a lot of issues with the way that he speaks to me and his perspective on certain things at times. He says a lot of things that are degrading towards women, which really bothers me being a woman myself. And when he attempts to have sex with me, he'll say something totally unattractive like, "You want to foo asterisk asterisk." He's just not romantic in even the slightest, and I often feel disrespected. We also rarely go on any dates unless I pay because he doesn't have the money. I will say that this has improved over the last couple of months after several conversations with him about it. He also seems to have an issue with me leaving the house to do things, which is really off-putting. For example, I began to go back to the gym, and he was worried that something bad would happen to me or a guy would try to talk to me at the gym. He actually tried to discourage me from going at all. And this happens anytime I need to leave the house to run errands, etc. Sometimes he'll even ask me if I'm talking to someone else or if I did anything bad while I was out. Most recently, my best friends and I were planning a girls' weekend trip 5 months out because they live where I moved from and we only get to see each other once a year if we're lucky. I told my boyfriend about this to be sure he was okay with it, and all he could do was question how weird it was that I wanted to go on a girls' trip with my best friends, saying that most guys would think that was weird and assume that you're going on a trip to cheat on their partner. It's really upsetting, especially when I have been nothing but loyal and trustworthy. And it's just really difficult to have to go through an argument with him every time I leave the house when I just want to run to the bank, for example. These are all things that I have, of course, talked to him about several times. And there are certainly areas where he has tried to improve, but many where he has not, or improvement has been very minimal. I would say that the one area he seems to be doing better with is passing his classes and doing his homework. He has hardly gone to class though, but he's at least passing with good grades, I guess. I will say that it is not all bad, of course. There are the sweet moments, or when he does something sweet and thoughtful, or when we enjoy a nice evening watching movies together. But then I remember everything else that I've been dealing with over the last couple of years, and I really worry for our future. The weight I've been carrying is unbelievably heavy and exhausting. I love him deeply, which is what makes this decision so difficult, but I'm terrified that this is what the rest of my life is going to look like at the same time. I worry that I'll be waiting forever for him to adult up and be the partner that I know I want long term. And I'm worried that I'll be dragging him through getting an actual job when he does actually graduate, which will be challenging since he's decided not to do any internships and does not have much of a work history. I don't even know where I'd begin the discussion with him if I decide to break things off. But I do think that I would want to move back home, which is out of state. At the end of the day, I don't want to do something that I'll regret. But I also want to give myself the chance to live the life I truly want for myself. Should I call it quits and end the relationship? What advice do you have to share? TLDR, I'm struggling with whether or not I should break up with my 5+ year live-in boyfriend.